Good afternoon, everybody. This is the second iteration, and I wanted to kind of share with everyone exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. As you all probably know, after my hip surgery, as I stated before on many occasions, that an artery was cut and I almost lost my life. So after going through that ordeal, I believe that God has a purpose for me. And my purpose, I believe in my heart, is to share with anyone who's willing to listen how successful you could be in your life. So some of the things that I'm going to embark on, lessons I learned from serving 24 years in the military, in leadership positions, traveling around the world, and also lessons I've learned in my life. Lessons that, from an investment perspective and making mistakes, and from a leadership perspective, and you start looking at your personal finances, lessons I've learned there as well. You know, I've made a number of mistakes, but I've also been successful in a lot of things that I chose to embark on. The one thing that I can say is that I had the courage to make decisions that were really tough. You know, you have the courage to start investing in stock and investing in mutual funds, and there are times when if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose. But you get some very valuable experience. So, you know, the message is develop it in your mind what you want to achieve and go for it. Don't allow fear to keep you sitting idle, and don't settle for where you are. When we settle in life, we accept things that we could very well change by taking action. So the first thing that I'm going to discuss is the fact that some of my experiences from a career perspective is what I want to share. You know, what job are you working? Do you want to get better? Do you want to move up? Do you want to be in a management position? Those are all things that are legitimate, and maybe there are some things I can say that may help some of you. Education. You know, we still haven't gotten a grasp on the value of education. And we want to talk about that and try and illustrate some examples of how you can get to the next level by simply taking a night class, getting the certifications, and then moving forward. Then we want to talk about, you know, your finances. My goal is to start off, you know, many of you may have seen the first 2 videos I published, but I started off with a budget, and then we moved to an emergency fund. You know, those things are very important. We don't tend to focus on them like we should, but I truly believe that even if you're an educated person who's doing a significant amount of stuff with your life or good things in your life, if you start looking at not having a sound financial plan, you know, you're having a tremendous amount of stress in your life simply because you're spending everything you make, plus you're using credit cards and you're going into debt. So we're going to have a lot of discussions on that, and my goal is to walk you through from when you develop the habit of saving, moving to your budget, your emergency fund, and then we're going to talk about some other things and eventually get to the mutual funds and other investment vehicles that you could take. So don't allow fear to keep you sitting idle. You know, a lot of people, I remember I did a class at the Bibb County Correction Facility, and one of the guys brought up a very valid point. His remarks were, why should I not buy a car if I work hard for this money. And my recommendation was, if you buy the car now and you create this debt and you have to have this payment, what about buying an asset that will pay for the car in 5 years? So that's some of the mentality that I'm going to try and share with you all, because I do believe that it'll be beneficial for you. And then the leadership. You know, it's a common thing that if a person, including your kids, are not a leader, then they stand for nothing. You know, and once we dive into leadership, you'll see when you have values and things that you're committed to, which are the cornerstone of who you are, then you will more than likely stay focused, stay disciplined, and do what has to be done. And that's what leadership's all about. So, as I stated earlier, 2018, it's all about taking action. One of the things that I have been just pondering is, what can I do for the greater good of society? And my question to you is, what can you do that would be a benefit to society as a whole? Whether it's your community, your local school, your local cemetery, wherever you can volunteer your time to make it better. We've gotten to a situation where it's always somebody else's fault, and somebody else should always take care of the business that you were supposed to take care of yourself. So we certainly have to stand up, take responsibilities for our action, and if our action was not in line with success, then we need to correct that and move forward. The days of pondering on what happened in the past should be behind you, because that is no longer relevant in your life. This present moment and going forward are the things that are important. So, you know, these are some of the things I'm going to try and share with you, and hopefully I can put it in a context in which all of you will understand it. But it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. I've gone through a lot, and I know that whatever God had for me to accomplish here on earth is not done. And my goal is to try different things to make sure that I am being a great son, so to speak, and get this done. So, you got to take action in your life. You know, many of us have dreams. Then the busyness of life stopped us from achieving our dreams. Well, I need you to sit down and think, how can I make this happen? You know, there's a lot of excuses. We had a young lady here a couple weeks ago, and I was asking her about, what are you going to do now? You and your boyfriend broke up. Well, she wanted to go to college, but she had a list of about 50 things as to why she can't go to college. And my message to all of you is, you have your dreams that you've been pondering for your entire life. Some of the choices you made may have interfered with you accomplishing those dreams, but now you have to do it the tough way. You know, now you got to set aside some time. There's never a good time for you to work and go to college to achieve your dream, but you can't get something if you don't put forth the effort. You got to sacrifice. Sacrifice your time, sacrifice your money. You got to sacrifice something in order to be at the level of success that you choose to be. So, take action. And we're going to work through it, and maybe I'll have some helpful pointers, and maybe we can sit down and brainstorm together, but we got to take action. Now, I had a couple questions. As I stated before, I want to do a number of these type of recordings or live events and talk about, you know, like I said, the budget, the mutual funds, and so on and so forth. So I want to know, what is a good time to do it? where most of you will be available. If you can, just send me a message through the Facebook or Messenger. And you know, I want to try and capture the most people at the optimum time. So let me know what your thoughts are. And what is your recommendations? What do you think you need to hear about? You know, I named a few things, you know, your career and education and finance and leadership, but there will be other things we talk about, especially conditioning your mind for success. You know, we have gotten to the point to where a lot of us just don't believe we can achieve greatness, but have we ever tried? That's my question. Have we ever tried to step out of our comfort zone and step out on a limb and step out on faith? That's what I want people to start looking at. I want to step out on faith. This is my conviction. This is what I feel I need to do. And together we can march forward much further than we can alone. So let's depend on one another and get a conversation started. You know, last year I was starting to do some classes, and you know, sometimes we had pretty good attendance, but most of the time people just weren't very interested. You know, regardless of what position you are in life, you can always get better. And you know, I just want to encourage all of you, when I'm in your area doing a class, I would encourage you to show up, because there is some information that you're going to get that might be the step you need to go forward. Also, I would like for you all to share the videos or live events with your friends. You may not need the information, but somebody that's a friend with you on Facebook can benefit from it. So if you can, please share the information so that we can get a great conversation going. And I would like to have the type of setup where we're conversating and we're all helping one another. And one of my favorite books is called The Laws of Success, but they talk about creating a mastermind group. You know, the mastermind group, if you have a group of 15, 20 people, all on the same accord, all shooting for the same goals, not in competition, but working in a cooperative fashion to build each other up to a level in which individually you could never achieve. So the goal is to bring people together and start talking about success, having conversations about mutual funds, having conversations about the future and where I'm headed and my goals and my dreams and all these things, because you never know who that one person is that you're having this conversation with who could actually benefit you and help you get to the next level. So we got to start a conversation, and that's really an essential part of why I'm doing this, because I see a significant amount of people that are just settling for where they're at, and this is what they expect. And you know, when you're a person who's a motivated person trying to move forward with goals, aspirations, you need to get engaged, and then you need to engage other people so that we all rise up together. Now, one of the things that, you know, my wife and I, we currently have a 12-year-old as a foster child. So if you all know me, you know I've been working on her. I'm sure I'm getting on her nerves, but it's so important to expose our kids to this type of information. If your kids are not being exposed to how to create a budget, how to save their money, how to create the habit of saving, and how to make plans and set goals for yourself, and you're going to expect them to be successful in life, but if we don't give them the tools to become successful, then we've failed as parents. You know, and that's kind of a strong statement, but it's the reality.